Every new year arrives with promises of success, growth, and transformation. But the truth is, success doesn't belong to those who wait for the right time or perfect circumstances. It belongs to those who improve every single day. The people who wake up each morning with the intention to be just a little better than they were yesterday. 2026 will not reward those who wish. It will reward those who work, those who evolve, and those who discipline their growth. The world is moving faster than ever. Technology is changing, markets are shifting, and competition is getting tougher. But what truly determines who wins isn't speed, it's consistency of improvement. The most successful individuals are not those who have it all figured out. They are those who never stop learning, adjusting, and improving. Every day, they find small ways to sharpen their mind, strengthen their emotions, and align their actions with their purpose. Success isn't a destination, it's a process of refinement. It's not about luck or timing, it's about constant self-evolution. Every single day presents you with two choices: to repeat your old patterns or to refine yourself, to stay comfortable or to grow. The choice may seem small, but its impact compounds. The gap between the average and the exceptional is not talent, it's daily improvement. In 2026, the difference between those who move forward and those who stay behind will be determined by one thing: their commitment to personal growth. If you can master the ability to improve 5 key areas of your life every single day, your focus, your emotional control, your communication, your consistency, and your self-reflection, you will create unstoppable momentum. You will not just adapt to the future, you will shape it. This is not about working harder, it's about working smarter on yourself. Because when you improve yourself, everything around you starts to improve. Your results, your relationships, your mindset, they all begin to align with the higher standard you set within. The path to success in 2026 is not paved by external changes, it's built by internal mastery. So as you step into this new era, ask yourself, what am I improving today? Where am I evolving? Because the truth is, if you're not improving daily, you're declining. Growth doesn't happen by chance, it happens by choice. And that choice is made not once a year, not once a month, but every single day. Let's explore the 5 things you must improve daily if you truly want to succeed in 2026. In today's world, focus is the new superpower. We live in a time where distraction is disguised as productivity. Notifications, endless scrolling, multitasking, all of it gives us the illusion that we're doing more. But in truth, we're doing less of what truly matters. The ability to focus is what separates the successful from the struggling. It's not about having more time. It's about using the time you have with full attention and purpose. Every minute you spend unfocused is a minute you'll never get back. And every time you allow yourself to be distracted, you train your brain to lose its edge. The truth is, success doesn't belong to the smartest or the most talented anymore. It belongs to those who can focus deeply on one thing long enough to see it through. When your attention is scattered, so is your progress. Focus is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. You can have the best plan, the biggest dream, and the strongest work ethic, but if your attention is fragmented, your results will be too. Focus is the art of saying no, no to distractions, no to noise, and no to anything that doesn't align with your purpose. Improving your focus starts with awareness. Most people don't even realize how distracted they are. They jump from one task to another, checking their phones every few minutes, responding to every notification, and wondering why they feel mentally exhausted by the end of the day. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you let it wander, the weaker it becomes. But when you train it to focus, to stay present, it becomes powerful. Start by paying attention to what captures your mind. When do you feel most distracted? What triggers it? Often distraction isn't the problem, it's the symptom. The real issue is avoidance. We distract ourselves when we don't want to face discomfort, whether it's boredom, fear, or self-doubt. When you improve your focus, you improve your relationship with discomfort. You learn to sit with it, to stay with the task even when it feels dull or difficult. Great achievers are not immune to distraction. They've simply built habits that help them overcome it. They understand that focus is not a switch you turn on. It's a muscle you strengthen daily. You strengthen it by setting clear priorities, by choosing one meaningful goal and giving it your full energy, by removing what doesn't serve you. When you say yes to everything, you end up doing nothing well. But when you learn to say no, when you protect your focus, You begin to gain control over your time and your results. The modern world rewards distraction. Social media thrives on it. Companies fight for your attention because they know how valuable it is. But here's the truth. If you don't control your attention, someone else will. Every time you check your phone for no reason, you're feeding someone else's success, not your own. Every time you stop your work to look at something irrelevant, you weaken your ability to concentrate. To improve your focus, you must take back ownership of your attention. Create environments where concentration thrives. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Keep your workspace clean and simple. Start your day by defining your top priorities. Don't let your day define you. You define it by where you choose to place your focus. Another powerful practice is single tasking. We've glorified multitasking, but research shows it lowers performance, reduces creativity, and increases stress. When you focus on one task at a time, you give it the respect it deserves. You think deeper. You work smarter. You make fewer mistakes. The most successful people in every field, athletes, artists, leaders, all understand this. They devote full attention to one thing at a time, and that's why their results stand out. The mind works best when it moves in one direction, not when it's pulled in 10. Your ability to focus also depends on your energy. A tired mind cannot focus. Rest, nutrition, and mindfulness are not luxuries, they're requirements. You can't expect to perform at your best if you constantly drain yourself. When you rest intentionally, you recharge your focus. When you exercise, eat well, and sleep deeply, you give your mind the fuel it needs to sustain concentration. Your physical state shapes your mental state, and your mental state shapes your ability to succeed. Another thing that strengthens focus is practicing presence in daily life. When you eat, just eat. When you listen, truly listen. When you work, give it your full attention. The more present you become in small moments, the easier it becomes to stay focused during big ones. Focus is about learning to be where your feet are, not living in the past, not worrying about the future, but fully engaging with what's in front of you. And finally, remember that focus grows through consistency. You won't master it in a day, but you can strengthen it a little each day. Every time you choose to stay with a task instead of switching to something easier, you're training your mind to focus longer. Every time you resist distraction, you're teaching yourself discipline. Over time, this discipline becomes your advantage. The more you train your attention, the more powerful it becomes. Focus gives your effort meaning, your time value, and your actions impact. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most with full awareness and relentless attention. Emotional control is not about suppressing how you feel, it's about mastering how you respond. Life will test your patience, your composure, and your peace of mind every single day. People will say things that provoke you. Circumstances will shift without warning. Plans will fail. But how you respond in those moments determines not just your success, but your peace, your relationships, and your clarity. The truth is, the world doesn't reward the person who reacts the fastest. It rewards the person who responds the wisest. And the difference between the two is emotional control. When you react, you let your emotions lead your behavior. You give away your power in that instant. You allow anger, fear, or frustration to make the decision for you. But when you respond, you take a step back. You pause, observe, and choose your next move with intention. That moment of pause is where true strength lies. It's easy to react. It takes no effort to snap back, to get defensive, or to lose control. But it takes wisdom to stay calm in chaos, to keep your center when the world tries to shake it. Emotional control is not a natural talent. It's a skill you build through awareness, discipline, and daily practice. In our fast-paced world, emotions are constantly being triggered. Social media, deadlines, traffic, opinions. Everything around you is designed to provoke a reaction. But if you want to lead, if you want to succeed in 2026 and beyond, you must train yourself to respond, not react. That training begins with understanding your emotions, not fighting them. Every emotion you feel is a signal. Anger tells you a boundary was crossed. Fear reminds you of what matters. Frustration signals that something needs to change. Emotions are not your enemies, they are your messengers. The problem is, most people listen to the emotion, but not the message. They let the feeling take control instead of the lesson behind it. To improve your emotional control, you must first improve your awareness of your triggers. Notice what situations tend to push you over the edge. Is it criticism? Is it being ignored? Is it when things don't go as planned? triggers are teachers. They reveal the areas where you're not yet in control. When you can identify them, you can prepare for them. You can create space between what happens and how you react. That space, that split second where you pause before speaking, where you breathe before acting, is where emotional control is built. Every time you pause, you weaken the impulse to react and strengthen your ability to respond. Emotional control also comes from managing your internal state. When your mind is calm, your emotions are balanced. But when you're exhausted, stressed, or overwhelmed, even small things can throw you off balance. That's why mental and physical well-being plays such a big role in emotional discipline. A tired mind is reactive, a rested mind is reflective. Meditation, journaling, and mindfulness aren't just spiritual practices. They are strategic tools for success. They train your mind to slow down, to observe, and to choose how to interpret what's happening. Because the truth is, it's not the event that upsets you, it's the story you tell yourself about it. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you can tell yourself, they disrespected me, and feel angry. Or you can say, maybe they're in a hurry, and move on. The event didn't change, your story did. And that story shapes your emotions. By changing your interpretation, you change your experience. That's what emotional control is about, not changing the world around you, but changing how you experience it. When you shift your perspective, you shift your power. You no longer let external situations dictate your internal peace. In leadership, emotional control is everything. The people who can remain calm under pressure earn trust. They make better decisions. They think clearly when others panic. Emotional control gives you clarity when everyone else is clouded by fear or anger. It makes you reliable, and reliability builds influence. When people know they can count on you to stay grounded, they follow you with confidence. The ability to respond calmly in the face of chaos is one of the greatest advantages you can have, not just in business, but in life. But emotional control isn't about being emotionless. It's not about pretending you're unaffected or suppressing how you feel. It's about owning your emotions instead of letting them own you. You can feel anger without becoming angry. You can feel fear without being paralyzed by it. You can feel sadness without losing hope. The key is awareness, recognizing what you feel, why you feel it, and how you choose to act because of it. Emotional control doesn't mean denying your humanity, it means leading it. Another aspect of emotional control is forgiveness, not for others, but for yourself. You will make mistakes. You will lose your temper sometimes. You will react in ways you regret. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you reflect on a reaction and ask, what could I have done differently? You grow stronger. Every time you choose patience over impulse, empathy over ego, you rewire your brain for emotional intelligence. Over time, this becomes second nature. You stop being driven by emotions and start driving them. The most powerful people are those who stay calm in storms, who refuse to let external chaos disrupt their inner peace. Emotional control turns conflict into opportunity, criticism into clarity, and pain into power. It allows you to operate from strength, not weakness, to lead with intention, not reaction. Every day gives you moments to practice this. Every challenge, every disagreement, every frustration is a chance to respond better than you did yesterday. The more you train yourself to pause, breathe, and choose your response, the more you begin to master not just your emotions, but your entire life. Communication is not just about speaking, it's about connecting. It's the bridge between your mind and the minds of others. No matter how intelligent, talented, or visionary you are, if you can't communicate effectively, your ideas stay locked inside you. Success in 2026 and beyond will not be determined by who talks the most, but by who communicates with the most clarity, authenticity, and purpose. Great communicators move people. They inspire, influence, and build trust, not because they use fancy words, but because they make people feel understood. The greatest skill you can develop in your personal and professional life is the ability to express yourself clearly and listen deeply. Most people talk to be heard. Very few talk to be understood. And even fewer talk to help others understand themselves. The difference between average and exceptional communication lies in intention. Are you speaking to prove a point or to create understanding? Are you listening to reply or listening to truly grasp what the other person is saying? The moment your purpose in communication shifts from being right to creating connection, everything changes. People start to listen. They open up, they trust you. Because communication that comes from purpose is felt, not forced. Improving your communication begins with improving your clarity. Say what you mean what you say, and don't complicate it. Many people hide behind big words and vague language, thinking it makes them sound smarter, when in reality it only creates confusion. Clarity is confidence. When you can express your thoughts simply, it shows you understand them deeply. The goal of communication isn't to impress, it's to express. The clearer your message, the greater your influence. Whether you're leading a team, building a business, or nurturing relationships, your ability to communicate determines how much impact you have. Listening is just as important as speaking, and perhaps even more so. Listening is an act of respect. It's how you tell someone you matter. Most people listen with the intent to reply, not to understand. They're already preparing their next sentence while the other person is still talking. But true listening means being fully present. It means silencing your internal dialogue and giving your complete attention to what's being said and what's not being said. Because often, the most important part of communication lies in what people don't say. Their tone, their body language, their pauses. These reveal emotions that words can't. When you learn to listen between the lines, you begin to truly understand people, not just their sentences. Another powerful part of communication is empathy. Empathy is the ability to see the world from another person's perspective, to feel what they feel without judgment. When you speak with empathy, you build trust. You create a safe space for others to share their truth. And in that space, real communication happens. People remember how you make them feel long after they forget what you said. That's why emotional intelligence is at the core of effective communication. It's not about being persuasive, it's about being human. To improve your communication, start by aligning your words with your values. Speak with honesty. Say only what you believe. People can sense when you're being authentic and when you're performing. Authenticity builds credibility. When you speak from a place of truth and purpose, people don't just hear your words. They believe them. And that belief is what creates influence. Communication without authenticity is noise. Communication with authenticity is power. Nonverbal communication also plays a massive role. Your tone, posture, facial expressions, and eye contact often communicate more than your words ever could. You can say the right thing in the wrong tone and still lose trust. You can deliver truth without empathy and lose connection. Your body language should reinforce your message, not contradict it. The way you show up tells people how to interpret what you say. Confidence doesn't mean being loud, it means being grounded. When your body language communicates calm and certainty, your words carry more weight. Another essential part of strong communication is asking the right questions. Great communicators don't dominate conversations. They direct them through curiosity. Questions open minds, statements close them. When you ask genuine questions, you show humility. You show that you value other perspectives. And in doing so, you create collaboration instead of conflict. In leadership, this skill is invaluable. The best leaders aren't those who give all the answers, but those who ask the questions that make others think deeper. In the age of technology, where messages fly faster than thoughts, we've started to lose the art of meaningful communication. Texts, emails, and posts have replaced real conversations. We respond faster but connect less. The more digital we become, the more human we must remain. Improving your communication in 2026 means bringing back depth to your conversations. It means calling instead of texting when something matters. It means being fully present when you speak instead of multitasking. It means looking people in the eye, not at your screen. Human connection is the currency of the future, and communication is how it's built. You can measure your communication not by how much you talk, but by how much understanding you create. After you speak, do people feel clearer or more confused? Do they feel uplifted or drained? Do they feel heard or dismissed? Every word you say either builds a bridge or a wall. Communication is the tool that turns ideas into action, conflicts into solutions, and relationships into alliances. When you master it, you don't just influence others, you empower them. Because real communication is not about changing someone's mind, it's about opening their heart long enough to see what's possible. Consistency is the quiet force that separates the dreamers from the doers. It's not the bursts of motivation that create success. It's the small, repeated actions that no one sees. In a world that glorifies instant results, consistency has become rare. But if you study anyone who has achieved greatness in business, art, fitness, or leadership, you'll notice one thing they all share: they show up every single day. Even when it's hard, even when no one's watching, even when they don't feel like it. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's what builds empires, shapes character, and turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. They start strong, full of excitement and energy, but they fade as soon as the results don't show up immediately. Success doesn't come from doing something once in a while. It comes from doing it long enough for it to matter. You can't plant a seed and expect a tree the next morning. Growth takes time. Progress takes patience. The most successful people understand this truth: the results you want tomorrow depend on the discipline you practice today. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Anyone can work hard when they're motivated, but the real test comes when motivation fades, when no one's clapping for you, when progress seems invisible, when you question whether it's even worth it. That's where consistency matters most, because it's in those moments that habits are built, character is formed, and discipline is proven. Every time you keep going when it would be easier to quit, you're strengthening your identity as someone who follows through. And once you believe you're that person, consistency becomes natural. The reason many people struggle with consistency is because they focus on intensity. They want to go all in, do everything at once, achieve massive results quickly. But consistency isn't about doing everything. It's about doing something, one thing, again and again until it becomes automatic. The small, daily steps are what compound over time. 1 page a day becomes a book. 1 workout a day becomes strength. 1 act of kindness a day becomes a reputation. The results may not show up immediately, but they accumulate silently until they suddenly become visible to everyone else. To build consistency, you have to simplify. You can't commit to 100 things and expect to master any of them. Choose what matters most and focus your energy there. Create routines that support your goals. When you make a habit automatic, you remove the need for motivation. The secret of consistency is structure, setting up your environment so that success becomes easier than failure. Prepare your workspace the night before. Set time blocks for what matters most. Remove distractions that break your rhythm. Consistency thrives on clarity. When you know exactly what to do and when to do it, showing up becomes second nature. Another key to consistency is patience. We live in a world that rewards speed, but growth happens in seasons. You can't rush transformation. You can't skip the process. You can't force results before their time. The universe rewards the consistent, not the impatient. Every day you put in effort. You're making a deposit into your future. You may not see the balance grow yet, but one day it compounds into something meaningful. Success doesn't announce itself in advance. It arrives quietly after years of steady effort that others gave up on. Consistency also requires self-compassion. You will have off days. You will make mistakes. You will fall short. But missing one day doesn't erase your progress. Quitting does. The key is to recover fast. Don't let one setback turn into a spiral. Forgive yourself quickly and get back to work. The people who stay consistent aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who don't let failure stop them. They know that showing up again and again is how they regain momentum. Consistency is not about never falling. It's about always getting back up. When you commit to consistency, you begin to build trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen your belief in your own reliability. You prove to yourself that you can be counted on. And that self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Most people are inconsistent because they don't trust themselves to follow through. They've broken too many promises to themselves. But when you start small, when you keep one simple commitment daily, you begin to rebuild that trust. Over time, this trust turns into unstoppable momentum. The beautiful thing about consistency is that it compounds. What feels small today becomes significant tomorrow. It's like water carving stone, slowly, persistently, until the hardest surface gives way. Consistency is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. But it changes everything. It makes you resilient. It keeps you grounded. It transforms effort into excellence. The person who commits to small daily progress will always outperform the one who works hard only when inspired. Because success doesn't belong to those who start fast. It belongs to those who keep going. In the journey to succeed in 2026, consistency will be your greatest ally. Skills will evolve, technologies will change, opportunities will shift, but consistency will always remain the timeless advantage. The world doesn't need more people who start things, it needs more people who finish them. Every day you show up, you reinforce your future. Every repetition, every effort, every disciplined choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. The results will come not because you chase them, but because you earned them through relentless consistency. Self-reflection is the habit that turns experience into growth. Without it, you can go through the same situations again and again and learn nothing. You can work hard, stay busy, and still stand still. But when you reflect, when you pause to look back, question, and understand, you begin to evolve. Reflection is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become. It's how you extract lessons from your past to build a stronger, wiser, more self-aware future. Every successful person has one thing in common. They study themselves as closely as they study their goals. In a world that glorifies constant movement, reflection feels like stillness. But that stillness is where transformation begins. Most people are so focused on doing that they forget to think about why they're doing it. They chase tasks instead of direction. They repeat patterns instead of learning from them. Self-reflection is the pause that realigns you with your purpose. It forces you to ask the hard questions. Am I moving in the right direction? What did I learn from today? What can I do better tomorrow? Without these questions, you risk becoming efficient at the wrong things. Improving your self-reflection starts with honesty. Real growth begins when you stop lying to yourself. It's easy to tell yourself comforting stories, that you're doing fine, that you gave your best, that the circumstances were to blame. But reflection demands courage. It asks you to face uncomfortable truths, to take responsibility for your choices, and to see your flaws not as failures but as feedback. You can't fix what you refuse to face. The people who grow the fastest are not the ones who avoid mistakes. They're the ones who examine them. They ask not, why did this happen to me? But what is this trying to teach me? Every day gives you lessons, but only if you look for them. A difficult conversation can teach patience. A failed plan can teach adaptability. A missed opportunity can teach awareness. The lessons are always there. Reflection is what allows you to see them. When you make self-reflection a daily practice, you start to connect dots others miss. You begin to understand your emotional patterns, why certain situations trigger you, why certain goals excite you, why certain people drain you. This awareness gives you control. It helps you make conscious decisions instead of emotional reactions. It helps you grow with intention instead of repetition. To reflect effectively, you must create space for it. Reflection doesn't happen in chaos. It requires quiet, time, and attention. You can't truly reflect when your mind is racing or when you're buried under distractions. Take a few minutes at the end of each day to sit in silence. Ask yourself what went well, what didn't, and what you learned. Write it down if you can. Writing gives your thoughts shape. It turns vague feelings into clear insights. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, habits that help you grow and habits that hold you back. And with that awareness, you can start making small adjustments that lead to big transformations. Self-reflection also strengthens resilience. When you look back with curiosity instead of judgment, failure loses its power to define you. Every setback becomes a lesson, every challenge a teacher. Instead of asking, why me? You start asking, what's next? Reflection reframes struggle as progress in disguise. It helps you see that growth rarely feels good in the moment, but it always makes sense in hindsight. You stop being afraid of mistakes because you realize they are not the opposite of success. They are part of it. Another aspect of reflection is accountability. When you reflect, you hold yourself to a higher standard. You stop waiting for others to tell you what's wrong and start evaluating yourself. You become your own mentor. You take ownership of your development instead of blaming circumstances or people. That's how leaders are made, not through authority, but through self-awareness. The more honest you become about your strengths and weaknesses, the more intentional your actions become. Reflection gives you the clarity to see not just what needs improvement, but how to improve it. Self-reflection also deepens gratitude. When you take time to look back, you start noticing the small wins you might have ignored in the rush of daily life. You realize how far you've come, even if you're not where you want to be yet. Gratitude grounds you. It keeps you from being consumed by what's missing and helps you appreciate what's already growing. That balance between ambition and gratitude creates inner peace. Reflection allows you to hold both truths, at once the desire to improve and the appreciation for progress. In the digital age, where our attention is constantly pulled outward, turning inward is a radical act. We are surrounded by noise, opinions, comparisons, and distractions. Self-reflection is how you return to yourself. It's how you filter the noise and find your truth. The more you practice it, the more in tune you become with your intuition. You start making decisions not out of fear or pressure, but out of alignment with your values. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. Every great transformation begins with self-awareness, and self-awareness begins with reflection. When you understand yourself, your habits, your triggers, your motivations, you stop moving blindly. You become deliberate. You stop chasing everything and start building what matters. Reflection gives you clarity, and clarity gives you power. It allows you to adapt faster, learn deeper, and grow stronger. The most successful people in 2026 will not just be the most skilled or ambitious, they will be the most self-aware, because awareness turns every experience, good or bad, into a lesson that moves you forward. Success in 2026 will not be a matter of luck, timing, or opportunity. It will be a matter of daily mastery. The people who will rise are not the ones who chase quick wins or temporary motivation. They are the ones who wake up every single morning with the determination to improve themselves. They refine their focus, they discipline their emotions, they communicate with intention, they stay consistent when others quit, and they reflect deeply to learn from every mistake and every success. The secret isn't in doing everything perfectly, it's in showing up and getting better every day. Because the truth is, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is built quietly in the small moments when no one is watching. It's built in the decisions you make when you're tired, but choose discipline. It's built in the moments when frustration tempts you to react, but you choose calm. It's built in the times when fear tells you to stop, but you keep going anyway. Every day you improve your focus, you sharpen your mind. Every day you strengthen your emotional control, you elevate your resilience. Every time you choose to communicate with purpose, you build deeper trust and stronger influence. Every act of consistency moves you closer to mastery, and every moment of honest self-reflection turns failure into fuel. That's how growth compounds. That's how transformation becomes inevitable. The ones who will succeed in 2026 won't be the loudest, the fastest, or even the most talented. They'll be the most intentional. They'll be the ones who understand that greatness is not built in a day, but daily. They'll be the ones who choose to grow when it's uncomfortable, to focus when it's noisy, to keep moving when progress feels invisible. So as you move forward, remember, success doesn't demand perfection, it demands progress. Don't wait for the new year to change. Change today, change now, and keep changing every day that follows. The power to transform your future lies in the improvements you make daily. Because in the end, it's not the year that changes you, it's what you do every single day within it.